methods of teaching, because one of the major themes in the play is whether to teach going into university, whether it's best to learn things by rote and be a good exam taker and someone who can use their memory and knowledge, or whether it's more about innate natural talent, and which of those things has the most value and which of those things Oxbridge is looking for. And also, if it is the latter, how do you test that and how do you quantify that? How do you quantify natural talent?
Yeah.
And that's a theme that came from, I borrowed or magpied from Alan Bennett's The History Boys.
A favourite play of both of ours, actually.
That idea of not quite knowing the battle between wanting to teach the best things you can, but and the best candidates you can and the best students you can, but also then having to be in a system where you have to quantify all that. You have to grade it, you have to scale it.
That's the peculiar thing about I think it's one of the sort of golden nuggets of the whole play, and it's one of the reasons why the play works, is that you've got a situation where universities like Cambridge, like Oxford, like others to be fair, pride themselves on looking past. They require high exam grades, of course they do, but they pride themselves on looking past that and wanting original thinkers, and which is why they put their students through these sometimes absurd entry interviews, which we are investigating and to some extent parodying. What's the parodying? Thank you. Which we are to some extent parodying here with Colloquium. But the irony is that they, like you say, they still have to quantify that, and so all that they really have achieved is replacing one predetermined rubric with another. And so
but that second one has like a weird mythic, untouchable value to it.
And this is why I think we see a lot of a certain kind of school feeding into Cambridge and Oxford, because it's not necessarily to do with a higher level of education, it's to do with the style of education that they are delivered. So whereas these sort of ancient stone universities are wanting to break the mould, what they're actually doing is just creating a new mould, and students and teachers and institutions have a choice which mode of teaching they want to go for, which will determine then which universities their students will be able to get into. But at its core, they are the same thing. You are teaching for a test.
Just which kind of test?
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say like style of education, because even that phrase kind of makes me wince a bit. Like as a teacher, like the idea of education having different styles and like different kind of like performances, and different kids from different backgrounds getting a different like style of teaching kind of makes me stomach flip a bit, and I don't necessarily know why.
It's the idea of education is supposed to be a consistent one, right? It's supposed to be, you've got for some subjects you have true and false, and for others you at the very least have the right way of thinking for something to draw the most analysis out of it, right? But education just isn't that cut and dry. And I don't think it can be. And, if you look at this, or if you look at plays like The History Boys, it makes very clear that, that kind of performing at education, where, sometimes it's not even about